welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. I am Rob Southgate. With me today, I've got a very special guest. I have Kenneth Smyson, superfan.
And pun extraordinaire, and I promise to kill the show permanently so Lil can never come back.
Hey, that's a bonus for all of us, isn't it? No. Lil's a, I was going to say a great guy. Let's go with Guy. He's not even here. I'm giving him some crap. We might get a couple of other special guests, just so you know. Since we have a super fan here, Kenneth, you might get other Nuff Said universe personalities. I don't know. More of us from the Nuff Said universe. You might get us on here. So, hey, now do you like to be called Ken or Kenneth?
Ken or Kenneth is 6 and 1/2 dozen on the other. I kind of professionally, Kenneth Smyson is my pen name, as it were. So that's why I go by Kenneth.
All right. I might go either way then. Who knows? You can see from the back here, I'm doing a lot of, we've been remodeling. Last week, if you watched the show, I gave a little tour where I showed the remodel. In fact, hey, everybody, let's get a remodel view. Boom. We got a new couch. We got all sorts of stuff set up. Yeah, it's getting there. The big thing is I put in a wood floor. So.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's, fake wood floor, but it's a wood floor. Mm-hmm. It's our downstairs, and you got a new studio thing going on here. It's really cool. So that's not the official intro to the show. We should actually, I'll actually cut that out. But those of you watching the video, you get to see all that exciting stuff. Okay, so today we are talking season 4, episode 12 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hot potato soup. I've been looking forward to this episode. Before we get into stuff about you, Kenneth, I want to just kind of throw this out here. What did you think?
I very much enjoyed the episode. It was pretty well paced. I like how there wasn't really any filler. It was continuing a couple different plot lines were all developed, and thankfully they kind of kept out plot lines that might not have been relevant for this story. It's annoying when they tend to put characters in just to have them in the episode.
Show up,
like Mace, we didn't even see him, which I love that character so much ever since I totally called it on his true origins. But yeah, I was glad he wasn't there because he had no purpose in this episode. So
right. Yeah, I'm eating, so anyone listening, you're going to hear it. How unprofessional. Because, you've come to expect, totally professional when it comes to the Nuff Said podcast. Yeah, my wife made this chili that doesn't have any nightshades in it, so like no peppers or anything, which you'd think is going to be like no tomato, but it's got beets and stuff in it. It is amazing tasting chili. So I'll be chewing on that during this. Hey, Josh, thanks for liking the wood floors. They are awesome. All right. Yeah, I agree. I thought this was a great episode. I had a lot of fun with it. Knowing Alil, he might have said, oh, it wasn't far enough. I actually think this one gave us a lot. I think this one paid off a lot. I'm a big fan. If you listen back to the original episodes when Patton Oswalt first showed up, Jack and I were huge fans.
Oh, same.
And we totally dug him then. I thought this was the big payoff. In fact, I kind of want to do a bonus episode with Jack after he's seen it to see what he says, because he's going to love this one. This had all the Patton Oswalt in it, from him doing the weird quotes and having fun to we finally got an explanation, which was cool.
Yeah.
Now, before this episode, did you think that he was an LMD, or did you have an idea about this?
As soon as they introduced LMDs at the end of the previous season and going into this one, I knew he couldn't be. So, and to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically they're quadruplets or whatever that were the technicians on the program. Was that what was going on? Or were they clones of each other? That part I didn't get, but I know they're not LMDs. They were working on the
they're quadruplets.
Okay.
Because when he started to say the thing about like, are you a robot? And they were like, we're technicians. It was the sister. The sister was the key. She was the one that said, what, you thought these guys were LMDs or you thought these guys were robots? No. They are clearly quadruplets. We got to meet the one that we hadn't met before, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
You people are sheeple. I loved that, and I loved the sister. That sister. Hey, I got a question. I thought they were just brothers and sisters. They are. Well, there's quadruplet boys and the one sister. So that was Daniel Cross wrote that. The one or the sister is that. I thought of her name all day. I can't think of it right now. The one from It's
LT.
Always Sunny. Yeah, LT. Was she the one from It's Always Sunny?
Well, I never did watch that show personally, so if one of the
now I got to look it up. Unless somebody knows. Artemis. Yeah. That's the one I'm thinking of. Now we'll see if that's actually who it is. I thought she was great. I thought she was perfect casting for this. It's funny. I was watching it with my daughter Molly, and she said right away, she goes, "She looks just like him. Like she could be a sibling." It's like, yeah, that was really excellent casting. Okay, what was her name on there? LT. Oh my gosh, her actual name is Artemis. Yes, that's the one from It's Always Sunny. So if you watch if you're going to watch It's Always Sunny, now that you know she's on it, Kenneth, I'm going to highly recommend watching the Nightman Dayman episode. I think it's the third season. Okay. Yeah, I think it's called The Nightman Cometh. Oh, it is. It's called The Nightman Cometh. And it's one where Charlie writes a musical, and it's not for the kids. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Well, I don't have any, so we're good there.
Artemis is in that one. So you'll see her and be like, oh, that's her. Hey, and we got a special guest with us. We've got Phil Me in Parrish. Hey, Phil.
Hey, everyone. What's up?
Hey, Phil. How you doing?
Good.
Now, Phil, have you recorded with Kenneth? I know Charlie did.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to keep track of all this stuff. Come on.
I only have 100 podcasts. Come on.
So we were talking about the episode. I know we're going to talk about. I want to talk about Kenneth a little bit about how he looks at Nuff Said and all that. But I want to go through this episode a little bit before we do that. And there was something else I was going to address, and I forgot what it was. Forget it. Oh, I know what it was. Hey, Josh. Yeah, man, I would be doing the Jaws theme through the whole thing. So every time I mute my mic, I'm singing it. Okay, so Phil, what did you think of this episode?
It was pretty interesting, the whole agent counting thing, and they actually have a sister. That was that was a weird thing. The thing that really interested me about this episode was the agent May, the LMD May stuff. I was that last couple minutes that really had me hooked. No
kidding.
The minute she kissed Coulson, I'm like, oh, okay, here it comes. He's about to find out she's a LMD.
Yeah, you know what? I was not predicting that. You know me, I predict everything way more than actually happens, and I get it mostly wrong. This is one I didn't predict at all. Mm-hmm. When I was watching it, I did not expect that to come out until later in the season. I thought that was going to be one of those like leading into the next to last, or probably not the final episode, but right around like 2 to 3 from the end. Maybe penultimate. Boom, May's an LMD. Everything goes to hell. I was really surprised when that came forward. And I was also surprised that they had them kiss before that came forward. Mm-hmm. That was pretty I thought he was going to kiss her and be like, why are you cold? Or, something like that. But no. Yeah, now, I got a question for both of you guys. With the May LMD, do you think, now that she's been exposed, now that she's laying on that slab, whatever, are they going to kill off that LMD character? Because we saw him burn the other ones. Or do you think we're going to have 2 Mays running around for a while? Or are they going to kill the real May and have the LMD be May, and that's just how it's going to be?
Well, like I was telling Charlie the one day, what if they do the best of both worlds? What if the real May is injured and they're able to put her brain in the LMD body?
Yeah, but why would they do that? They've already copied the brain.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
it's already there. Unless you want to put it in a jar, like on Futurama, and you have May's brain there, and they could start collecting brains and just have them sitting there.
Yeah, unless they can put her actual gray matter, put her brain in the LMD's head.
Right. Right. So what do you think, Kenneth? You didn't
Well,
say anything there.
I'd say, yeah, I was letting Phil get his chance there. I'm going to guess that.
Why'd you do that? We don't normally let Phil talk.
I think the Maybot is going to sacrifice herself, justifying the existence of the LMD program, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to appropriate all of Radcliffe's technology so they can make their own LMDs, although probably less evil.
Yeah, well done. That sounds about right. What I want to have happen is different, though. I want there to be two bays running around. One of them's the LMD. Coulson paints one of them purple or something, so he knows which one is which. It's or he puts a bell on one. You're a bot. I know. I think that's the way to go. Maybe he puts a USB port in the back of her head, and he can take that finger and download through that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I mean, if they could have some episodes where they play with the audience, switching back and forth, not sure which one is the real one. They just can't overuse that.
She gets shot, and you're like, oh no, wait a minute, bot. That would be okay. I do think that they're doing a really interesting job with Radcliffe. Is that his name, Radcliffe?
Mm-hmm.
I get everything wrong. Because, we've seen him be an LMD already. I'm starting to wonder, in this episode, when we saw him take the Darkhold, I'm like, we still don't know if that's an LMD. We don't know how many of these LMD versions of himself he's made. Because he could be sitting, even when he had the conversation with the senator, even that could have been an LMD if he's keeping himself safe in a bunker somewhere and sending these Radcliffe LMDs out there. That's an interesting idea. I thought Ada was going to be the big LMD from this season, but I think it's him.
Well, I'm definitely glad that it was revealed that Ada isn't inherently self-aware evil, because we just had that with Age of Ultron, so I'm glad they didn't do that and that it was ultimately Ratcliffe.
Yeah, didn't you think that was the way it was going to go, and it was a little disappointing?
Yeah, I would have been very disappointed with that, but that was genius for them to lead us down that hole or down that path and then just give us that curveball with Ratcliffe. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we did get an answer about Koenig, that they are twins, that they were the technicians, and this was actually really important. So yeah, we got that answer, but the more important thing was what they said in there when they said we were technicians, we're obsolete. Yeah, they kept doing that throughout it. We got downloaded with this. We were programmed to do this. They were trying to lead us down that path. But when they said the thing about we're obsolete, we were on the first LMD program. That explains Tony Stark saying it in Avengers when he's like, oh, is that an LMD? That was a plot hole that's been sitting out there. But the other thing that does, just like the last few seconds of the episode, it's doing what we want this to do. It is giving us little threads that tie us to the MCU. They had pictures of Phil Coulson standing out there. The guy says he was dead. Everyone thinks he's dead. What is he doing alive? They showed that picture that was from the original short when he went, a funny thing happened on the way to Thor's hammer. That was that
the
picture.
Item 47 thing.
Yeah. That was there. Those little threads are telling me this is tied to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or to the MCU, which is what we want. That's what they have to do. Alil and I have had this debate because he thinks, maybe it's two separate things. It's not. And I think they're going to do more of this with the Netflix thing. I know, Ken, you said that you thought that the big bad that we're waiting for is going to be Sigourney Weaver's character. I doubt it, but that would be a really interesting approach.
They introduced who it was. It's the Russian guy from last season that was tied up with Mockingbird.
Wait, he's the big bad? He's the whatever it is?
Because the Russian guy was like, when he broke that vial to torture the Koenig, he said, I'm a superior man. And they were talking about how he's a subordinate of that Russian politician. So now you've got the Russian politicians, watchdogs, and Senator Nadir all gunning for the Inhumans.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. I did catch it now that you say it. So Yeah, that makes sense. I like that guy. I thought that was cool. Oh, that was the other thing I noticed. When Phil brought up Hunter and Mockingbird and about how I almost called her Mockingjay again like I did last week. Because, I'm a tribute. When she brought that up, Phil, and I did it with the missing finger too. Ding! It's the worst. When he brought that up, in my opinion, that is opening the door. When they resolve this with the Superior, it opens the door for him to bring Mockingbird and Hunter back. Are they going to have them in there permanently? Probably not. They probably moved on to other things. But now we can have episodes with those guys back because now they're being brought back up, and the reason they're in this situation is being resolved by the end of the season. Thoughts?
Well, yeah, and that's just it. I would like to see them as recurring characters. You don't need to see them every episode, and for that matter, I'd like to see Deathlock come back. I like that character once they got past the plastic Nerf armor, But
you mean that the spray painted football uniform he had?
Yeah, the character is a great character. I like the actor, so it'd be good to see those kind of characters be the recurring characters that they're just out on missions most of the time, so you don't see them too often in the core group. But from time to time, they can come in and surprise you.
Now, who played him better, J. August Richards or Will Smith? Oh, shot to DC. So, you know what? We actually met J. August Richards at the Des Moines Comic-Con, and we were just talking about this the other night. We were going up to we have a show we do at Comic-Cons called Geektastic Cage Match, where we just pit two things against each other. And it's a lot of fun. And I was talking to J. August Richards. He was the sweetest guy in the world. He talked to us like we walked up. He was alone at his booth. Started talking to him. His handler's like, 1 minute. You're not buying anything. It was like an hour. He's talking to my kid. It's just like when we met Agent Ward. He was the same way. Just super lovely people. And I invited him up to Geektastic Cage Match. I said, hey, man, we're doing this thing at like 1 o'clock. If you want to come up, and I'm thinking, you never know. He ends up, I'm walking by to go up there. He stops me and he goes, what time is the thing at? I said 1. He goes, I have a press thing, like a signing thing I have to do for Wizard World at 1. He said, if there's any chance I get out early, I'm going to come up there. When I saw him later, he was like, I was there till 2:30. I couldn't get up there. He said, what happened? Yeah, I watched the video. But what a sweet guy. He was honestly trying to get up there. How cool would that be to have Deathlock up there with you,
Yeah. That
a spray-painted football uniform. So, all right, we're going to pit the two against each other. Who's better, Deathlock or Deadshot? Isn't that who he played?
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't seen it yet. I've got it right here. I'm going to actually watch it.
Well, Deadshot's not a cyborg, so in a shooting contest, Deadshot would completely take it. But
yeah, they look the same.
The cybernetic stuff.
They look the same. Okay, then who's the one? There's one in the DC universe that's the same thing. The one that they're going to make a movie about and nobody cares about. Which one is that? The one that was in Batman Superman.
Come
on, Phil. You read all that DC stuff. He was in Batman Superman when they did the Flash, where they showed the Flash and they showed Aquaman and then they showed
Cyborg.
Is that okay?
Oh yeah, Cyborg. Yeah.
All right, Cyborg against Deathlock against Deathstroke. Who's better? Debate it out, boys.
Forgot Deadpool.
Deadpool's not a cyborg. He doesn't go in there. He doesn't have the red eye or anything.
You said Deathstroke. Deathstroke's not a cyborg.
Okay, who is it?
Well, that's not true. In X-Men Origins, Deadpool had laser eyes.
Oh, we don't go there. We don't go there.
All right. I like Josh's comments on here about Cyborg and yeah, no kidding, man. He also said that his favorite bot was Lucy Lou Bot, which, all right, points for that. So Jack probably likes that one too. So you guys don't have any thoughts on it? I'm going to say J. August Richards wins because he's an awesome guy.
If you're talking to TV and movies, yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Boy, you're terrible at this game, Phil. I'm going to have to coach you on how to play Geektastic Cage Match, aren't I?
Yes.
I'm going to put you up against Chris Mao. Let's see what happens there. Yep. So what else happened in this episode? I mean, we had the Fitzsimmons thing. We're getting a story about Fitz's dad, and he knows Radcliffe. He's alive. Who's that going to be? Is it going to end up being a bad? Do you think? Like how we got Daisy's dad ended up being Mr. Hyde. Do you think Fitz's dad is going to be somebody bad?
Did they say he was alive?
Yeah, he said he had just talked to him a couple of months before, and he said something about.
He did. So
he also said I could get you in touch with him, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I think he did.
He's alive. I don't think he's dead. I thought they implied he was alive.
I think
he's going to be a character.
Half truth in that. I think he's alive. Even though I think there's some manipulation going on with that Ratcliffe LMD, but I believe that that'll probably lead into next season, if anything.
Maybe he was like the brain that helped Radcliffe, develop a successful LMD. Maybe he's like the mad thinker or something.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be kind of cool. Well, you know what? Now we're going to have to debate about who that's going to be, because we almost got it right with Hive. We weren't even close. I'm going to say he said he's totally going to be Hydra. Yes, Josh, he is totally going to be Hydra. Or maybe not. Maybe he's one of these other groups. Maybe he's another splinter group. Because there are a bunch of other groups that are not Hydra. What was the one? Isn't there a group called Zodiac or something? He could be part of that. What's a science group?
AIM. But we kind of have.
Oh yeah, we've talked about AIM a lot. I used to think AIM was going to be a big player in this, and AIM is not. I would like to see AIM. I would also like to see, now that they're going into this an Inhumans show that's going to be happening, I think the time is ripe to, and I don't know if it'll be next season, but we get a sword storyline going. I think that would be really cool, because they're your space and exploration. I think that would be the time to introduce sword into the mix.
What do you think they should, once S.H.I.E.L.D. ends, simply start up sword in its place, kind of taking some of the characters, just like, was it Frasier? Didn't that come out of the old Cheers? Something like that. Do something like that where you get some.
You mean when this show is over and then just start up a sword show?
Yeah, as the primetime, MCU TV show.
Yeah, maybe. I think if Inhumans works for them, it's going to show them that they can do superhero teams. I think we're going to get a Secret Warriors show. I think that would make a lot of sense. Personally, I go back to the idea of, I think they should start doing it where, I don't want to call it an anthology show, but you give us, once every half season, give us one or two Secret Warriors storyline shows. Give us a sword storyline show where they're kind of standalone while the agents are doing something else, and then they have their overarching agents show. Because the more shows you add, the thinner your pool is going to get. Let's not make it thinner. Yeah, exactly. Let's enrich this one.
Well, that's what that mid-season gap should be. They should have just done one season of Agent Carter, then did a different show for that gap. Each year it should be something different, just to kind of keep it fresh.
I agree. That replaces your one-shots, and the other thing it does is it gives you another huge pool to pull from. Now, that's really what Inhumans is. Inhumans is only, 8 episodes or something? So it's not like we're talking a full series.
Well, for now, they could always add on episodes.
They could, but I have a feeling they're not going to. I have a feeling we're going to get this one shot, and I think, Kenneth, they're going to probably follow your lead. If that's successful, now they can do some of these other things as 8-episode runs. I think they would have been more successful with Agent Carter if they had done that. Even though there's a lot to like in the second season, the first season was a standout. And they don't have to keep going with second, third season like they are on the Netflix things. I mean, Netflix, I want more Luke Cage. I want more Jessica Jones. Agent Carter, I wanted more Agent Carter, but if I knew the next season was going to be Secret Warriors, the next season was going to be whatever, I think I might have been really satisfied. But you got to do almost team-based things or characters that are not like the street-level Daredevil and all that. I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But there's a lot you could do. You know, if they could ever get the Thing right, the Thing had a really great miniseries or a few series of the Thing. They're never going to do that, but you know, if they could get that right, the special effects they're not going to get right. The Thing where he's in love and he goes across country, that's a great story, and that could work really well as an 8-episode run.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Bring me Ron the Space Knight. That's all I'm waiting for. IDW's got it. So,
well, it was very interesting. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
I was gonna say just the I don't know if anyone's reading Occupy Avengers right now, but that would be a great show because even Charlie was even saying that's the show they need to give Jeremy Renner because it's right now in Occupy Avengers. It's Hawkeye, Red Wolf, and Nighthawk, and they're all like
that'd be perfect.
I mean, yeah, no big special effects.
Although you know what, I want him to do an actual Hawkeye series based on the Hawkeye comic, which is so good, where he owns the apartment building and everything. Mm-hmm. You want to do something that breaks form, but uses Jeremy Renner. There's your show.
Mm-hmm.
There's your show. Plus, it would make people like that character because right now he's definitely second tier Avenger, even though they gave him more to do in the last one. You know what? I just watched Civil War again the other day, and if you didn't know, that's a really good movie. Just a little bit. But the Hawkeye character in that was still is all right. You know, I think that the standouts in that, like Ant-Man, was a total standout. I thought they gave a lot of secondary characters really great spots in there. And I know Ant-Man, you don't consider him secondary, but he is. He's only done one standalone film. He stood out. Spider-Man stood out in it. I mean, you know, Hawkeye was kind of Hawkeye. He was utilitarian. He had some funny lines. What worked about him was the fact that he was on with Black Widow. Mm-hmm. You know what? And there's the other thing they talk about is do a Black Widow Hawkeye movie. You know what? I don't care about that. I want a Black Widow movie, and I want it to be espionage and have it be like, here's Marvel's James Bond movie, right?
Well, Kevin Feige confirmed that for Phase 4.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where did he confirm
They
this?
didn't put it in this lineup.
Kenneth, you liar. That's it. You're off the show. No, I'm kidding.
I'm finding it right now.
All right, you find it. You find it, mister. Let's see. What else do we have here? Okay, we got a question here from Josh. Josh, you're very active on here. So then do you think the new Punisher series is going to flop? Flat out, absolutely not. It's going to be awesome. What do you think, Phil?
It's going to be awesome.
Oh,
Ken,
yeah.
It's going to be awesome. Phil, what do you say?
On Netflix, where it can be, you know, like a more mature, you know, content and stuff, I think it's going to be good. It would flop if they tried to put it on, you know, ABC or something. But Netflix,
that would work.
It's going to be good.
I think if anything flopped in Daredevil Season 2, number one, Daredevil Season 2 was a little overcooked. I really love it because I'm a huge Daredevil fan. It's a little overcooked. I think they shouldn't have had Punisher and Elektra. I think they should have had Daredevil, Punisher. Mm-hmm. And I think for Elektra, they should have beefed up the Elektra storyline for a third season maybe and given us that. Or done Elektra in the second season and then Punisher in the third. But they wanted to launch these characters. The problem is, and I thought Elektra was great, but it was a misfire because we didn't get the depth of that character. We didn't get the depth of that storyline. You know, so she's just a suit right now to people.
Daredevil Season 2 is the Iron Man 2 of the Netflix shows. It does a lot for the universe, but as a standalone, you know, series or movie, Iron Man 2 and Daredevil Season 2 didn't.
Right. And I know a lot of people bust on Iron Man 2. I still love it. You know, I still love
what it is.
I still love Daredevil 2, you know?
Yeah. I liked Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 3.
You know, and I like Iron Man 3, too. I know that one gets a lot of crap. I mean, yeah, the first one is a real standout. The only one that doesn't sit great with me is Age of Ultron. That's the only one, and I know people like it. I've watched it recently. It's not. I mean, it's no Batman Superman disaster, but it's there's elements missing, and I'll tell you what the problem is. It's that one's really overcooked. Too much studio interference, trying to get too many characters in there. If it's going to happen, let it happen organically. Like Civil War, that made sense having those characters in there. And it wasn't overcooked. Everybody got the right amount of time. Age of Ultron, no, not true. It felt more like, a TV special. Hey, we're going to throw everything in here, and look, we showed you our characters. No, I don't care. I really hope that's not what we get with Infinity War. I don't think we will, but there is that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
DC wanted they saw what Marvel had and they wanted to jump there. They didn't want to build like Marvel did. They wanted to jump right to the
Yeah. Well, that's paying off real well. So all right, I'm going to shift gears because we've kind of talked out this episode. We know that I think next week is going to look killer, absolutely killer. I'm really excited for it.
No, I don't watch the teasers for the next week.
I do because we do a show about it. See,
this is true. Yeah,
kind of have to. And it looks really, really cool. Looks like a lot of payoff stuff. Yeah,
I think action. Yeah,
I think it's going to be great. So I want to talk about you, Kenneth. You're a fan of Nuff Said. Have you been a fan for a while, or is this a new development?
Well, I'm a bus driver, so I look for podcasts to get into, and I came across Nuff Said roughly a year ago, and I was looking for one podcast that had everything in it, rather than subscribing to 5 different podcasts from the same guy. That was like, you're like the only one that does that. So I get the super connectivity, and I don't listen to the all new Marvel Roundup as much unless it's pertaining to comic books that are involved into the MCU. I'm still working on the reading part. I'm going to be doing my homework though on reading Iron Fist Living Weapon
Nice.
prior to Iron Fist coming out. That one's a little shorter than the other one that was recommended to me, so I'm going to put that one out. But yeah, and then I wrote in, it was March or April of last year was the first time I wrote into Charlie and Phil on Super Connectivity, and just ever since then, just like to tune in every chance I get with all the shows being put out.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. That's something that, we originally thought we might put these on different feeds. And even after we started, I had told like Phil and Charlie, like, I'm going to split you guys off. And then I went, no, I'm not going to split you guys off. I like it like this. It's just like, we have that YouTube channel, and Phil and I do that, the Mighty Nuff Said Reading Club on there. I want it to stay there. I don't want to split things off. I want that to be there. That's one way where you can get those. You were talking about the comics. You can even do it while you're driving the bus. If you have like an iPhone, a lot of people listen to podcasts that way. You can just listen to the banter on there. They're only like 10 or 15-minute shows, but we did the Living Weapon on there. We just kind of talk about if it's cool, if it's worth your time. Yeah. So might want to check that out. I'm really glad you like the show. I'm glad you're digging what's going on. We try to take a different approach. We just try to have fun with all of it and approach it as fans,
Oh yeah.
So, well, I'm glad. Have you gone back and listened through? Like, did you listen to like when we did Daredevil? Are you listening to Charlie and Maz? Are you liking all that stuff?
Yeah. It was right around. The Jessica Jones. Those were starting to come out back when I first found Nuff Said.
Okay.
But yeah, I listened to all the Cage Cast and all of those shows. A lot of fun listening to those guys.
Yeah, well, those guys are doing all the Netflix shows. So starting, I think, next week is their version of Jessica Jones. They're doing AKA Jessica Jones, which is going to be cool. So do I.
I love those jive turkeys.
Yeah. And, Alil and I had talked about maybe doing those like we did the Daredevil thing as a Patreon-only show. But it's too much time. So I don't know. We're talking about different options. Now, Ken, you also had sent us I think you called it like a resume or something, which is ridiculous. Do you you want to do something now? Charlie and Maz are doing Iron Fist, so that one is not available. But you want to be on Nuff Said, huh? You want to do something with us?
Yeah, I can pop in kind of as a co-host. I don't initially with my life. I work 15-hour days, so as far as
well, I wasn't thinking co-host. Everyone's going to get to hear live what we're thinking here. What I was thinking is maybe you cover a different aspect, because that's really what we try to do on Nuff Said. We've got the comics covered. We've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. covered. We've got these Netflix shows covered. I don't know. You could cover a different show, like when Cloak and Dagger comes out, you could do that. Or you could go back. I mean, one thing that I've always wanted to have on here is somebody doing either the animated stuff or like the old Marvel stuff and just kind of go through it and talk about some of that stuff. But you can decide. Think about it. I would love to see something different on here. And we can either put it as part of the podcast feed, we can put it as a YouTube show, or we can put it on Patreon. So, but you're welcome to join us. We would love to have you. You're a lot of fun. You were good on Super Connectivity, unless we hang up and Phil goes, "Oh God, Rob, what did you do?" You're in. So, and that's not how we got you, Phil. Is it? We got you because we got you for Before the Bet. Then you kept writing in as like a creep about Nuff said, and we just said, "Okay, you got a show." Charlie was a super fan though. That's how we got Charlie. He was writing in, and I finally reached out to him, and it was like, my God, you're writing these like 8 million page things on our Facebook. You want a show? And that was it. And as you know, he's very demure. He hardly says anything now, but
nice quiet little flower.
Yeah, right. But yeah, man. And we can work out co-hosts and all that and figure it out. But yeah, we'd love to have you. So everybody got to hear it. We just brought on a new member of the Nuff Said universe. You're welcome.
We're an army now.
All right. Do we got anything else we want to talk about?
I've got a bone to pick with Fitz.
Oh.
Something we kind of skipped over at the beginning when we were talking about Radcliffe LMD.
Pick it.
Why did he screw up and shoot the Radcliffe LMD? I know it was a great moment for the shock value of
because it was awesome.
It was awesome, but in hindsight, he could have played along with that thing. As soon as he shot it, then Ratcliffe knew that he was, Fitz was onto him. I mean, it would have been better to kind of use it as a double agent and feed him false information.
I think he had to be sure. That might have been part of it because he used an icer. He didn't use a gun. He did shoot him in the head, which is pretty severe. But I really think that's what it was. I think he had it figured out, and it was one of those things like I think that he also might have been afraid that he was going to get – if he didn't take care of it right there, if he didn't do this, what if that LMD figured out that he was onto him? He could have been in real trouble with that LMD.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's better to just like expose it, rip the Band-Aid off, and in a pretty severe way, shooting him in the head. So, Josh said, "Yay, Ken." So you can thank Josh later. Give Josh, him a big bear hug.
Josh and Daniel are my friends from quite some time, and linked the show to them for them to join.
Excellent. Well, guys, thank you, and make sure you subscribe, and make sure you give us a rating on iTunes. You can put on there, Ken's the best, and then, like that matters. Okay, so what else? Man. Oh, man, I've been working my butt off with all this construction around here, and I'm also helping somebody paint. You'd think that's what I do. It's not. I do this, but I'm like, all my muscles hurt. I'm all tired. I actually look less like a homeless guy tonight than I usually do. That's a positive. My wife will be happy about that, but she won't be happy about this. She doesn't want to watch Suicide Squad. I'm going to watch it. I don't know. I watch all that stuff. All right. Couple bits of business. Let's throw them out here. First of all, we have a Patreon page, and it is, you just go to Patreon, type in Nuff Said Podcast. We need patrons. That's what helps pay for stuff like some of the upgrades we just made. This is where we get that. $1 a month. It says right here, this averages out to 10 cents a show, which might be the best entertainment deal on the planet. We'll include you as a thanks on the main show and add your name to a list of Patreon supporters, which I still haven't done. Right now, our bucket here is 0. So, but we haven't done much to put it out there. We put it out every once in a while. We're trying to add content that is specific. So if you're a patron and you're at a certain level, like $5 a month, you will get a show that is only on Patreon, and we won't cross it over into the other things. until maybe like a year later, like we did with Daredevil. So those of you that are fans, those of you that listen, $1 a month, $5 a month, anything really helps. If you're like Phil, big bucks Phil, he's throwing in, he wants to throw in $500 a month. Phil, that's so generous of you. I think it's a little over, but that would be nice. But yeah,
you take a check. You take a check, right?
I take a check. Yes. Yeah, and I can reach for it as it bounces. But on Patreon, for a while there, I was adding the shows that are on our podcast feed. I have not been doing that as regularly. I don't know. I need feedback too. Do you like original stuff on there? Do you just want to see that we're producing stuff? What do you want as a patron? So communicate with us. Write to us on there. Even if you don't become a patron, you can follow it. You can post to us and talk to us there. That would really help because we're really trying to figure this thing out. We really want to try to make this as big as we can. We have a Twitter feed at Nuff Said Podcast. Follow us on that. I think what do we cap? 2,000 followers? Something like that? So pretty good. Keep going. We need more. And we also have a Facebook page. Follow us on that. And Ken, you'll start being able to do some of that stuff too. We'll be able to get you on there. And you don't have very many Twitter followers. That will change.
Yeah, I've noticed a spike in my Twitter followers as I've been commenting and acknowledging some stuff of yours on there.
It will go up. It will go up now that you're part of the crew. I don't like that name. We're not going to go with crew. You're part of the Nuff Said universe. You're part of the bullpen. There we go. There's Marvel for you. What else? Phil, why don't you give your social media and where people can listen to you and all that?
Well, I'm on Twitter at NightwingPDP. You can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. All over here on the Nuff Said feed, all new Marvel Roundup that no one listens to, Super Connectivity, and the new Wade's World Deadpool podcast. But I also talk DC, so listen to Before the Bat and Legends of DC podcast. Oh, and Channel 52.
Phil's, and then if Charlie was here, another half hour of shows with Charlie. And Ken, where can people follow you? And I'm going to urge them to do it. Where can they follow you?
Well, I just launched my website, kennethsmyson.com. It is under construction, but that's KENNETHSMYSON.com. And you can find all of my contact information there for Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail.
Awesome, man. And once again, welcome to the club. You're part of it. We will figure out, and that'll be something you and I can talk about. Think about what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Try to think outside of the box, and we'll come up with something. Maybe make it Marvel bus updates or something. I don't know. Get on the bus with Kenneth Smyson. Terrible. Oh my gosh, terrible.
So bad it comes around full circle and becomes good.
I'm still waiting for that. It's been 3 years of this. All right. I think that is it. Once again, Ken, thank you so much for joining. Phil, thank you so much for jumping on. This was fun, and keep reading those books, Phil. We're gonna have to jump on our Mighty Enough Said reading club soon. I have 4 episodes I have to edit and put on.
Yeah.
So, wait, Josh said, cough, cough, Marvel Star Wars, cough, cough. Mighty Enough Said reading club. We're going to be doing a special for our Radio Free Endor show. We're going to be doing the Darth Vader series. We're going to talk about that. And, yeah, man, I would love to see a Marvel Star Wars something because I love those books. And I even go back to the old school stuff. Like, I have that original run, like issue 1. I've got all of that stuff still. Love it. So think outside of the box, man. If you said, like, I want to do all the Dracula ones from the 70s, all right, let's do it. But whatever you want to do. All right? You guys good?
Oh, yeah.
It's a podcast. You don't just nod.
I'm good.
All right. All right. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And Kurter, Josh, Daniel, all you guys that joined in there, thank you so much. And that's it. Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.